I used to hate certain kitchen tasks so much that I would put them off until the last minute. Then I discovered these 8 clever tricks. Number 7 is so simple that you'll wonder why nobody told you sooner. Let's start with a tip that I guarantee many people have needed at least once. You've just finished frying something and then you look down at the pan. Burnt stains everywhere, and if it's a stainless steel pan, the problem can feel even worse. Don't worry. A surprisingly simple solution is often hiding in most homes: toothpaste. Just squeeze a small amount of toothpaste directly onto the burnt areas of the pan. Then scrub as you normally would using a sponge or soft scrubbing pad. The mild abrasives in the toothpaste help loosen the burnt residue without being overly harsh on the surface. The dark burnt marks start to disappear and the pan begins to regain its original shine. And who knows, you may have a burnt pan sitting in your kitchen right now waiting to be rescued. If you do give this trick a try and let me know what happened. Did it work for you? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your results. Here's another simple kitchen trick that can make meal preparation much easier. When you bring meat home from the store, your first instinct may be to start slicing it right away. But that's not always the best idea. Fresh meat is often very soft and slippery. The fat can feel stretchy, and the meat itself may wobble under the knife, making it difficult to cut evenly. Instead, try this. Place the meat in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes before slicing. You don't want it frozen solid. The goal is simply to chill it enough that it becomes firmer. After about half an hour, take it back out. You'll immediately notice the difference. The meat feels more stable, the fat is easier to cut through, and the knife glides much more cleanly through each slice. Now you can cut the meat exactly the way you want. The slices come out much more uniform without those frustrating spots that are paper thin next to pieces that are twice as thick. It is a small step, but it makes slicing cleaner safer and much easier to control. Now that the meat is sliced into even pieces, it's time to make skewers. And honestly, this is one of the reasons I used to dislike cooking. The pieces slide around the skewer misses the center, and sometimes you end up poking your fingers instead of the meat. But here's a simple trick that makes the job much easier. Grab a steaming rack. Yes, the same rack you normally use for steaming vegetables or dumplings. Place the pieces of meat on top of the steaming rack first. Now lightly insert the tip of the skewer into one piece of meat. Don't push it all the way through yet. Slide the meat gently until it sits directly over one of the holes in the rack. Once the meat is lined up with the hole, push the skewer down through the center of the meat and through the hole below. Instead of the meat sliding around, it stays in position while the skewer passes through cleanly and easily. Each piece sits in the center of the skewer, and every skewer looks almost identical to the next. Just a quick, controlled motion. Once you get the rhythm, the process becomes incredibly fast. In just a few minutes, you'll have an entire plate of perfectly aligned meat skewers ready for seasoning and cooking. Now it's time to cook the skewers. One of the biggest annoyances is having to keep flipping the meat. But take a closer look at your air fryer basket. Do you see all those small holes around the sides? Simply insert the ends of the skewers into the holes and arrange them in a staggered pattern. Before cooking, make sure the skewers fit safely inside the basket. Trim wooden skewers if needed and never let them touch the heating element or block the air circulation. This lifts the meat slightly above the basket instead of letting it sit flat on the bottom. As the hot air circulates the skewers, it reaches both sides of the meat more evenly. Best of all, there's no need to stop halfway through and flip every skewer by hand. When the cooking time is up, take a look. The meat is beautifully browned on both sides, evenly cooked and ready to serve. By the way, what do you prefer on your skewers? Beef, chicken, pork, shrimp, or vegetables? Let me know in the comments. Next, if you bake, make pancakes, prepare batters, or mix sauces. You've probably run into this problem before. No matter how carefully you stir, little lumps always seem to appear. The result is a batter that looks uneven and doesn't have the smooth texture you're hoping for. Fortunately, there's a quick solution. Use an immersion blender. Instead of spending several minutes trying to break apart the lumps with a whisk, simply place the blender into the bowl and blend for a few seconds. Watch what happens. The small clumps quickly disappear as the blades break them down and distribute the ingredients evenly throughout the mixture. In just moments, the batter becomes noticeably smoother. The texture looks more uniform, pours more easily, and often produces better results during cooking or baking. Now that the batter is smooth and ready, it's time to start cooking. Most people simply scoop the batter with a spoon and pour it directly onto the pan. There's nothing wrong with that method, but let's be honest, the results can be a little unpredictable. The flavor is still good, but the presentation often leaves something to be desired. So why not spend a few extra seconds making your food look as good as it tastes? Here's a simple trick. Pour the batter into a squeeze bottle with a narrow nozzle. Suddenly, you have much more control over where the batter goes. Instead of guessing with a spoon, you can guide the batter exactly where you want it. Creating perfectly round pancakes becomes incredibly easy. Just squeeze. The shape comes out neat, even, and consistent every time. But that's only the beginning. You can also have fun with it. Try making a smiley face for someone you love. Children especially love seeing fun shapes appear on their plate, and adults can't help smiling at them either. It is a small detail, but it turns an ordinary breakfast into something more fun and memorable. And next, we've come to my favorite tip of all. In my family, we usually buy fresh bread every day, but sometimes there are still a few pieces left over by the next morning. The aroma is still there, but the bread has become much drier and firmer. Then I learned this simple trick. Take the bread and lightly spray it with water. Don't soak it. Just give it a light, even mist over the entire surface. Now place the bread in the microwave for about 1 minute. The moisture turns into steam, and that steam helps soften the bread from the inside out. When the minute is up, take it out and give it a try. What a difference! The bread is warm, soft, and much more pleasant to eat. The crust is no longer tough, and the inside has regained much of its original texture. For our family, this has become a real lifesaver whenever we want bread, but don't feel like running to the store for a fresh loaf. The next method is a bit more unique, but it creates a very natural and harmonious look, like a mini garden right on your table. First, line the bottom with a layer of lettuce leaves. Choose fresh, deep green leaves and arrange them to fully cover the plate. Next, start with a layer of carrots on the outer edge. Slice the carrots thinly and arrange them in a circle around the plate. After the carrot layer comes the cucumber. Slice it thinly and arrange it in the next inner circle. Next is the tomato layer. Arrange the tomato pieces closer to the center so the colors stay clear and the plate looks organized. Finally, place a piece of cauliflower in the center. This will serve as the main focal point, standing out against the layers of vegetables around it. Once finished, the whole plate looks very harmonious in color, natural and perfect for gatherings that call for something light yet visually appealing. If you enjoyed these 8 kitchen tips, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend or family member who loves clever kitchen shortcuts. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, enjoy your time in the kitchen, and I'll see you in the next video.